deserve the best protection. I know they have, in every single case that where a journalist has been abused locally, there has been, maybe not of this size, not of movement of this size, even domestically, not the work that we're doing. For some reason, the NINI case has taken big proportions. I took one example. Whether it's for a journalist or someone else, we've never seen 500 lawyers in a court dropping everything, their business, their paying clients, and say, this isn't acceptable. Yeah.
If I can just comment on this, it's not the first time. There's been many cases in Morocco of journalists that have been imprisoned, that have been exiled, that there's been an international outrage and also domestic standing up. I remember, 5-8 years ago, the publisher of another newspaper was caught in a case, and he went into exile, came to the United States.
Yeah.
So there's been very strong advocates of press freedom in Morocco. And I think, the test, as they've been saying, is the contradiction between the statements of let's have press freedom, we respect press freedom, and the implementation on the ground.
Hi, good morning.
Morning.
You drew parallels between NINI and Mohamed Bouazizi, and in respect for other journalists who have been through the same situation. I'm just wondering if you think that this particular case will have enough widespread following to undermine the reform process that's been underway, and if it will kind of speak to Moroccans as a particular case that comes at a particular time in the region and can kind of move the process in a meaningful direction.
I think if nothing else, this case has fueled, it's been the gasoline on the February 20th protest outside. They were already looking for reasons to go protest with everything that is wrong with the system. And then, I'm going to be very blunt here, stupidly enough, you give the people, when I say February 20th, it's the people that have been marching by the thousands every month and then every Sunday. Now it's every Sunday. Now you just gave them another reason. You gave them NINI on top of everything. And if this doesn't get solved very soon, it could take other proportions in the streets.
Sorry, if I could just ask a follow-up question. Have political parties or civil society organizations brought this case up to the King or the CCRC in any of its proposals or discussions?
Great reactions from civil society, much less from political parties, with few exceptions. With few exceptions, I mean, we've all known that political parties in Morocco have always been very weak. Very weak for several reasons, and they usually have a very mellow reaction. And so most of the political parties, except 1, 2, 3 key figures, have taken his side. And again, don't forget that, I've heard a lot the following thing about NINI in the street. You ask XYZ member of parliament, he's in jail, and I said, well, good for him, he deserves it. Because he probably wrote an article about his party last week. So when you write like that, you take big risks. So not from political parties so much, a lot from civil society, the Moroccan Association for Human Rights, so many other NGOs, the domestic and international level.
Hi, I would like to add my voice to the people that asking for freedom for Rashid NINI. Actually, we missed reading his columns, Shuf Shuf, which translate in English to maybe yes, maybe not. My question to you, I would like you to speak and explain in a plain word, what is the difference in two cases? Judy Miller, which was sentenced 3 months. She's also a journalist here in the States. She used to work for New York Times. And Rashid NINI, Rashid NINI, it's a year sentence. Is that a difference in between time serving, or there is?
I'm not familiar with the Judy Miller case, but she probably was prosecuted for not disclosing her sources. Does any one of you know?
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Well, Mr. NINI was not incarcerated for Mr. NINI was not incarcerated for not disclosing his sources. He was plainly, they told him, they didn't tell him, tell us, prove us that it's right, or whatever. They told him, you criticized, you attacked, you dishonored, criticized, you attacked, and you dishonored institutions, security institutions. And for this, you'll be going to jail. So in one case, probably refusal to disclose sources. In the other case, it's purely the sanction, the punishment of criticizing.
You have called on King Mohammed today to release Rashid NINI. What about the U.S.? Have you brought a message to Washington? And are you asking anything from the administration now?
That's precisely why we are here today and in the future, as we would like the U.S. government to show its total refusal of what has happened. And unlike the past, we would like this message to be more firm. It seems to be, according to the latest President Obama's speeches, the latest one on the topic in particular, that the Arab world needs to get together, its act together in terms of granting democracy and respecting civil liberties and rule of law. So just the same way President Obama did this speech, I hope, and again, Morocco should not be seen as uninteresting. I hope that the strongest message gets to the government of Morocco to release him, but not just to release him or to pardon him. That would be too easy. Very important point, not to do it again. Because we've had this wave, this tendency, which is absolutely ridiculous, to detain someone, try him, sentence him to X many months, X many years, and pardon him 3 months later. 3 months in jail or something. You know, we don't play with civil liberties like that. So it is unacceptable. And it wouldn't fix the problem. If you want to fix the problem, you have to structurally look at what kind of press do you want, what's allowed, what's not allowed, and have fair system for everyone.
I have one more question. I don't mean to monopolize the microphone, but I'm curious, going back to this prison in Tamara that was found, prisons are no secret. Presumably there have been other secret prisons. I mean, what about this particular case touched nerves? I'm having a hard time understanding why this alone touched enough nerves that it landed
I think, as I said before, Morocco is probably not the only non-democracy that is very afraid of its image, very concerned about its image worldwide. And I think that because Morocco has done some progress in other fields, on the economic level, and to some extent a little bit on the political level and stuff, I think the fact that somebody comes very recently, and especially in this era of February 20th, and discloses such a disgusting thing, I think it drove the government and security people nuts.
When was the article written?
April 10, yeah.
Okay, that explains it.
So it was like, you're denouncing us. You're denouncing us. You're saying that we still torture people secretly in a secret jail.
I just have a question with regard to the defense. What is the argument that you all will be using? I mean, I don't know if you can disclose that, but I think it's important for us to understand that this case is important because he was tried under a criminal law, not a penal, not the press code. And so I'm just curious how that will be presented.
What a great question. What a great question, because it makes me smile and laugh. The trial was a comedy. You can call it a comedy or a waste your time kind of thing. And you have a judge who I could read in his face that the lights were totally turned off until his cell phone turns on. It's a justice system that works with instructions. So you could basically, it's, as we say in French, cause toujours tu m'intéresses, say anything you want. When they tell me to release him, I'll release him. See anything you want. You want to change this room? When I get an SMS, I'll change the room. That's it. That's very as easy as that. So in terms of legal defense per se, the first thing that the defense said is that he shouldn't have been arrested because he should be prosecuted under the press code and not criminal laws. And he's saying true things that are true. let's all go to Temara and see if it's there. And by the way, between parentheses, the following week, and see how he kind of pokes and unveils real things. The following week, statement from the Minister of Justice and Minister of Interior. We ordered an investigation on this matter, and we realized that the so-called secret detention center is an administrative section department of the Ministry of Interior, and we don't know why it's in a forest and underground. But anyway, so yeah, so.
So they admitted it's there.
They didn't admit. They didn't. No, they admit that the building exists, but not the purpose of the building.
I heard that Rashid Nini's defense abandoned the room and didn't attend the last. So do you think that was a good thing to do, or that hurt him, or how far that went?
I think it was a good thing, and I think they did it, we did it, too late. In a case like this, seriously, I would have walked to see the judge and say, you don't need me. Rashid Nini doesn't need me. Because the debate is elsewhere and not in a court of law. So yeah, at the end, the defense realized that you could speak, talk, argue. It will not produce any kind of result because it is a political keyword, political prosecution, political trial that has to have a political solution. Legal trial, legal solution.
Mr. Reda Amin, as I know you are international, you practice law in States as well as in Morocco. Is that right? Are you bringing the case of Rashid to States, or you come in here just for a PR?
I'm not sure I got the question exactly. Can you repeat the?
My question, are you bringing the case of Rashid Nini to States?
Yeah. To the States.
Or are you doing a PR for Rashid here?
Well, by bringing the case to the U.S., we're doing an appeal with the international community and the U.S. government. So what we want to do, the purpose of this action is to bring international attention and U.S. attention to this case, so pressure can be exercised on the government of Morocco to release him. Well, if done, thank you very much, and thank you for coming.